This will come to our OR reports. Okay, Clinton Youth Program is a prevention/dance group.
My name's Danielle, and I go to Clinton High School. I'm a freshman, and one of my hobbies are dancing.
Okay, and I'm Danielle Johnson. I go to Clinton High School. I'm a junior. And I'm involved in track and also the CYP dance group. And would you like to introduce yourself?
Yes, my name is Marty James-Walton, and I was born here. I went to school in Clinton. I graduated in 1966 from Clinton High School. My family moved here in 1947 from Arkansas. And I lived in Clinton, and I grew up here, and I was married here, and we bought a home in Comanche, Iowa, a few miles down the road. So I've been in the area all my life.
Okay. Well, it's nice to meet you, Marty.
Thank you.
And where were you employed at?
Right now I'm employed at New Directions as a prevention specialist, but I would like to tell a story about that. I graduated and I went to business college, and I was one of the first African American to work at that time it was called Clinton Corn Processing. I just started out in the mailroom, and then at that time when you had babies, they didn't hold your jobs, so I lost my jobs after I started having my children. So then I got a job at the Clinton Public Library, and I worked there for 18 years. At the age of 50, I decided I wanted to work with youth. So I went back to school, got the credentials I needed, and now I'm a prevention specialist with New Directions. I've been here for 11 years.
So you work with youths now?
I work as a prevention specialist, work in the schools. We do prevention education, helping children make good choices.
And how many children do you have?
I have 3 children. My daughter's having a birthday next week, I think. She'll be big 4-0. I have an older son, he's 41, and my youngest son, he's passed away. He died at the age of 31. He died a few years ago.
Oh,
I have 5 grandchildren.
and
My
what do
granddaughter Marquette, I think you guys might know her.
Yeah.
She just turned 16. So my eyes went up in my head because she's a 16-year-old. So she also has her permit to drive, so that's going to be kind of scary.
Are you involved in any civil groups?
Well, right now I belong to, if civic groups you mean different organizations and coalitions around town, I am a member of the Martin Luther King Planning Committee. I'm a member of the Clinton Peace Coalition, which is a group that kind of evolved from Martin Luther King's group. And I am a member of the Vince Jeter Youth Center Committee. And I'm a member of the Clinton County Extension Service. So those are some social groups that I'm involved with.
Okay. Can you tell us more about one of those groups?
Well, it was very interesting being involved with the Clinton County Extension. They approached me about 3 years ago, the executive director, and said that they were looking for more diversity, and they wanted to know if I would become a member of the group. So once a month we meet in DeWitt, and I got introduced and involved with a lot of farmers because Clinton County Extension started out as farm and 4-H clubs, and so they started talking about time when it's time to do the fair and how they go out and weigh the cattle and all this kind of stuff, and so that was very, as I sit there, my eyes kind of glassed over as I'm listening to them talk about farming and cattle and bugs and growing rabbits and stuff like that, but it's a whole different culture. And then we're trying to, and I was also involved in getting our referendum to pass here in Clinton this time, so it's been very different.
So you're the only black in that group?
Yes, I am. Clinton County Extension, yes. I don't think we have any African-American farmers in Clinton County, so.
Have it been difficult in those committees?
Well, it was very friendly, and they were very open, and they were looking, like I said, for diversity, so I was made to feel very welcome.
So have you had any challenging cases like with you being black?
And different, and not in the city groups, no.
Okay.
But sometimes we'll bring up some different topics, and I found out that a lot of white people in our community are curious about African American culture. So sometimes we do some discussions, and we'll talk about different things and the way we do things, the way we cook, but they're just interested in what. So when they have an African American that they feel comfortable with, they try to delve a little bit into our culture to see what's really going on in there, besides what they see on TV. Because what they see on TV is sometimes a lot different than who we really are. Yeah.
And what was it like growing up in the 60s in Iowa?
Growing up in the 60s in Clinton, well, and first of all, in my family, I was the first one in my family to graduate from high school. So when we moved, and that was one of the reasons my family moved us to Iowa, so that we could have a better chance at education. So I didn't have anyone to help or guide or mentor me. So as we go through the schools and go through the systems and the learning process, our parents were able to support us when we were name called and when we were treated unfairly, but they weren't able to help us with the work. So none of the teachers really stepped up to the plate to help us out either. And so I kind of stuck there, but I made it because they expected us to make it. Our parents expected us to make it and to become educated, and so we did. So we didn't have room for failure, I guess, in our home. So that made us work even harder at school, and things that we didn't understand, we just had to kind of muddle through on our own because there wasn't a lot of support from the teachers.
And what church do you belong to?
I was brought up and raised in the Second Baptist Church, in the Baptist faith, Second Baptist Church. But at the time that I was growing up, we interchanged our faith. There was 2 African American churches in the city. It was Bethel AME and the Second Baptist. And we were singing in each other's choirs every Sunday, and we did a lot of fellowship and back and forth, and I don't think that's going on right now, but we were very close in the 60s because although there wasn't any overt racism, if you're African American and wanted to buy property or live in the city, you were kind of guided to one certain part of town. So that made us have a very nice, close African American community. We weren't spread all over town the way you are today. So we had a close-knit community, and we had a Clinton Fellowship Club where all the mothers and grandmas in both churches got together, and we would have picnics and we would do activities that they would sponsor throughout the year. So the African American community we had a community, and we had a togetherness that's missing today.